Hello everyone, and welcome to the AAR for this carnage painting project, which I started several months ago, and after much anticipation it is finally finished, and we're going to talk about that right after this. All right, folks, we back, and this is the after action review for this carnage painting project. Couple of quick notes before I get into it. Please forgive my lighting situation. You may notice some shadows going back and forth. That's because I have a handheld light and I'm trying to keep him well lit. And I know you're tired of hearing that. It's getting old, the same old song over and over about your lights, your lights, your lights. Okay, that's true, but since relocating my work area, I still haven't gotten my lights situated. So I have to hold this one in order to get some light up toward the front of this statue. There was another note, and I guess it's going to come to me later on when I'm trying to do something else or say something else. All right, but let's get into this, folks. Okay, the purpose of the AAR, that is mostly for me to evaluate what I did good during the project, what I can improve on, and some of the things I did wrong during the project. We're going to get into that later. First, let's stop him when he rotates back around, get a good look at him, and then we'll take it from there. All right, now I remember what I wanted to tell you. Okay, along with holding this light in one hand, I'm also trying to operate my remote for the turntable. Also operate my phone. In addition to that, well, I shouldn't say in addition to that, but another note, pray for me that this turntable survives. I don't know the weight capacity for it. I did go to Amazon and try to find out the brand and the name of this turntable, but it came from China. There's no branding on it anywhere, but I saw one that looks like it, and it said it has a weight capacity of over 300 pounds. Now, this figure, after adding weight to it, is probably around, I don't know, 8 or 9 pounds, maybe 7. Okay, but I don't think it's anywhere close to 300, so I hope I'm safe. Hopefully this turntable won't break down. Okay, that's it. Let's get into it, folks. Let's see if we can get close up. Let's zoom in, get a little closer. Later on, I will come off the tripod and get up close and personal with it. But for now, this is all I can do. Just look at the detail, folks. Amazing detail. And that is one of the reasons I put this statue off so long. I bought this back in February, I believe. And since then, I've done several projects. I wanted to get more experience before working on this one. I wanted to get experience with gluing, with adding weight to statues, with magnets, with painting, just anything involved with these. I wanted to get more experience, and I think it paid off because this turned out pretty good, I think. Not to pat myself on the back or blow my own horn, but I think it turned out pretty good. I'm not going to say awesome, but whatever's the next step down from awesome, that's where it's at. All right, folks. Like I said, we're going to get up close and personal later on, but for now, let's take a pause, then we'll come back and talk more about it, what happened during the project. Okay, and we are back. Couple of things I want to point out. Let's start with the pieces to this figure. Now, folks, you might want to get comfortable, get your favorite drink, kick back, because normally my AARs run kind of long. I get a little long-winded, start talking, and it might get a little rough. So just bear with me. We'll get to the end. All right, let's talk about the pieces to this. The base consists of two pieces. He has two legs, the torso, and I believe the arms are separate from the torso. It's been so long since I bought this, I've forgotten, to be honest, folks, but you can go back and look at the other videos. I'll try to put a link at the end of this video to get you back to some of the earlier videos. Let me see, I believe it's the two arms. There's the head. This tendril, I hope everything's in frame. Yeah, this tendril or symbiote, and the red one back there. There's a couple of small ones on the back of the base, and these 1, 2, the 3 big main ones, and he has several small ones. So there were quite a few pieces to this. Now, my plan for this, I did go back and check the first video I made where I did my pre-planning and prep, talking about my plans for it. The plan was to paint this. I had no particular colors in mind. I did not want it to be gray, so I accomplished that. I will admit that the smoke, and this is smoke, the white stuff, that's smoke. I admit it looks a little bit, is my light in the camera? If my light gets in the camera, someone let me know. I'm not really able to see my screen on my phone while I'm talking like this. But I did not want the base to be gray. And if I get good enough at this stuff with a hand brush, and if I can afford it, I will get an airbrush, because I know this would look a lot better if it was airbrush. But I am still doing this on the cheap, folks. I'm still learning, so I don't want to put a whole bunch of money into it until I get better at doing it. That's where we at on that. So I don't think the smoke is bad, but I wish it could have turned out better. And I painted this, I don't know how many times I painted this smoke, maybe 5, 6, 7, but it just would not get any better. There comes a point where you have to say, okay, that's it, I'm done, it's finished. And that's basically what happened with the smoke. I just couldn't improve on it, so I had to stop. And I did what I set out to do with the base. It's not all gray. I just hate an all gray or all black base. And I got some color in here with the building rubble. One thing I did discover while painting this base: you cannot have too many colors in a base or it becomes garish. I think that's the right word. And it does distract from the figure. At one point I had a lot of different colors in here, more than you see now. And it just, the eye was drawn to it, and it becomes all just, it takes away from the statue. So I had to dull it down a little bit. And this is what I ended up with. In a moment, I'll rotate him around again. We're good. Okay, cut. Take 2. I'll rotate it around in a moment, and we'll get a good look at the backside. All right, let's talk about the figure. I'm trying to recall what I said in the preparation video, and I think one of my objectives was to use a lot of magnets on this. Another one was to not include this tendril here, but I ended up using it. I did some tests with this. I put it on, took a look at it, took it off, and had a look, and I figured, okay, it looks pretty cool with it. Even though it does look a little crowded here, I think it works. So I did not plan on using this, but I did. Another plan was to use magnets. I wanted to use magnets for these main 3 tendrils. This one, am I still in frame? Yeah, this one, and this one. That did not happen. These are actually glued in. I'll tell you why in a moment. I wanted to use magnets on the arms. There's a magnet holding the head on. That's the only magnet on the statue. And I wanted to use magnets on the tendrils here and in the back. Okay, the reason I did not use magnets. Those magnets are tricky, folks. It takes a lot of work. You have to do a lot of drilling holes and adding support to hold the magnet up, gluing it in, and it's a lot of work. And if you're working with something this small, this opening here where the tendrils go in, they're not too big, not too small, but it's just not enough room for me to feel comfortable working in. And putting a magnet in there big enough to support this thing and keep it from falling out. Now the head is a different, it's kind of different because the head is so small, it doesn't have a lot of weight to it. I was able to not glue it, but I was able to add a magnet to it and it holds it in really firmly. See, that takes a little bit of pulling to get it out. So that's not going to go anywhere, and I feel comfortable and safe with that. Same thing with the arms. I could have put magnets in, but I'm not sure I had a magnet that would fit into this cavity here that was strong enough to support that arm, support the arms and hold the arms in place. So I decided to glue them in. I wanted to use magnets on all of this stuff so that in the future when this has to be stored or shipped, it would be easier to do that if it can be disassembled. I didn't have a lot of plans for this. I think that was about it. So I'm about to come off the tripod. We're going to get a little up close. Hold on. Let's take a look at the back first. Okay, and you can't actually see the bottom of the base, but where is it at? Okay, there it is right there. So not all gray. There is some gray in there, but not all gray, and that's what I wanted to accomplish. Let's see, what can we talk about back here? All right, let's talk about this. I don't know if I should call this a tendril or just the symbiote. I believe it's supposed to be the symbiote because it's coming out of this black symbiote mass here. But I wanted to just add a little color back here, so I made it red instead of black. The thing that took the longest with this figure was painting these symbiote veins all over the figure. I had to take a lot of breaks, and by breaks I mean like I would paint for a little while a day, a short while during the day, then I would stop and then maybe wait till the next day. It's tedious work, monotonous, and if you rush it, you're going to start messing up and these lines going to be going everywhere and it's going to look like crap. So it took me over a week just to paint these symbiote veins all over it. And there are raised areas on the figure that show you where the symbiote should go, but I didn't want to use all of them, so I had to figure out which ones to use, which ones to not use. I didn't want the black part to get too crowded. I wanted some of the red to show through. I didn't want to drown out the red, so that took a lot of time too, trying to figure out which ones to paint, which ones not to paint. Another thing I want to point out, this was not original. Cut, take two. This was not an original part of the plan. I don't know if that's showing in the camera. It should be showing, but you can see the edge here is orange. I've seen this somewhere on a statue. I don't know where, but I thought it looked kind of odd and weird at first. But then I was looking at this last night. I was just about done, and I said, I want to do something else with this to just make it a little different from my other ones, because you know I have a whole bunch of carnage statues. I don't want them all to be just the same thing. All right, so I decided to do that, put the orange on. I like it, but I wish I could have, what's the word I'm looking for? I wish I could have blended it with the red a little better. On my next project, I plan on using the orange again, and I'll work on that because this blade arm on the other figure is a lot larger. So that'll give me more room to work with, and I'll have to work on the technique for blending that better. All right, so I think I can come off of this tripod now. And I want to say this before I forget. Folks, if you're interested in this carnage figure, and this thing, I am so hold on, let me get this camera off the tripod, then I'll finish that thought. Okay, and we are back. I am so excited about this figure, folks. If you are interested in obtaining one of these, please leave a comment, let me know, and I'll tell you where you can get it. I've been having statues made by this 3D printer up in Atlanta for several months. He's made a lot of them for me, and he does good work. And this is the result of his work right here, as you can see. Okay, let me spin him around. Do that dance, Carnage. Let's get a top. Let's get a top. Let's get a view of the top of him. This thing, folks, it looks great from every angle. No matter where you look at it from, it just looks awesome. And there are not, take two, there are not a lot of statues out there like that. You might look at it from one angle and it looks kind of off or weird and it doesn't look right. But this one, I mean, just any angle, it looks good. And I believe this is going to become one of my favorites right here. I have a couple of favorites, all-time favorites, as a matter of fact, since I started the collection. But this is going to become one right here. Don't know where it's going to fit in. And speaking of that, I can't remember the scale of this one. I want to say 1/6, 1/8, I don't know. But if you are a 3D printer, if you can make this bigger, please hit me up, let me know. I want to get this made big as possible. I know I've seen some 1/4 scale, 1/3 scale statues, not necessarily Carnage, but other characters. I want this thing to be big. If you can do that, please hit me up, let me know. Now, one thing I want to point out, don't know if I can see it from here, but I think it's viewable. Okay, the inside of his mouth is not painted. I overlooked that, but I did not notice it until I had finished painting the head and the teeth and everything. And I said it would be just my luck if I try to go stick a paintbrush in his mouth and paint that, I'm going to get the red paint all over it. So I decided to just leave it as it is. You can't really tell it's not painted unless you actually looking for it. So I'm not going to worry about it. And okay, we're about to get up close and personal here. And you know what? I think I'll just rotate him while we take this up close look. And then we're going to call this a wrap. I added the gloss this morning to protect the paint, and that is what gives it that shine, folks. It also makes it look so cool. Now, up close, you will notice some mistakes with my paint, but again, I am still learning. Have to learn that brush control and have to get a steady hand, or keep a steady hand. And those eyes are painted with glow paint, so they do glow in the dark and it looks pretty cool. Focus. Okay, folks, I think that's about all I can tell you about this. I think this project went well. I think I have improved since my previous projects. I think I'm getting gooder, okay? So I'm going to keep on trying to get gooder than I am, and we'll see where things go. All right, now it's time for the money shot. Trying to get that good thumbnail picture. Get some light over here. Stay there. One thing I forgot, I may attach a re-release to the end of this video. So if you are not interested in that, please just stop at the end of this part of the video, folks. You don't have to watch it. You won't be missing anything. It's just a video that I recorded months ago, and I actually re-recorded it. So the one that I'm going to attach to this one is just a earlier version of an earlier video. Okay, I don't know. I know that didn't make sense, but again, if you don't want to see that, stop the video after this part. You won't miss anything. I just didn't want that material or that video to go to waste, because I just discovered it just today, as a matter of fact, when I was trying to find earlier videos I did on this figure. Okay, folks, I think I got a good thumbnail shot somewhere in there, so I'm going to end it here. Thank you for watching. Thank you for supporting the channel. Please subscribe if you haven't done so. If this is what you enjoy watching, I have plenty more coming up, and things will be getting hot real soon, because my 500-ish subscriber giveaway is right around the corner, folks. So you don't want to miss out on that. So you want to stay tuned. You want to subscribe and hit the bell. Thanks. Bye. Badass.